What's up, everybody? Welcome. This is John Rivers, aka Cowboy. We have Sam Sweaty Boy. We are doing our MLB baseball preview. We are predicting who we think is going to win the division, which division, who's going to win the World Series, award season, who's our sleeper team, and who is our stinker team. How you doing today, Sweaty Boy?
I'm doing good, pal. Had a pretty good weekend so
Good.
far. How about yourself? We've had some, like John Rivers said a second ago. This is not episode 28. That will come later this week. Talking more basketball, college basketball, and then um, had a little bit of a tough day today. If you're an Alabama fan, not a tough day if you're an Auburn fan, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, you're right. We decided we're going to do our predictions now because we figured out Blake Snell and not Garrett Cole, Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery's never going to sign. I figured that out when I was on LinkedIn and I saw Blake Snell was looking for a job at Publix. I have nothing. It's just Blake Snell is never going to sign. I mean, Scott Boris is going to make him unemployed, I'm sure. All right. But let's get into it, man. We have a lot of divisions. So let's start out in the AL. Let's start in the AL East. Who do you get? What are your top five teams? Do you want me to go mine first and then yours, or how do you want to do this?
First, I can, unless you most certainly want to go first, but I can go. All right. I'll go 5-1
Okay.
from worst record up to the best.
Yes. Okay.
Um, I think the AL East is
It's the
not
best.
going to be as competitive as it has been the past couple years. I mean, you look back the past few years, it has been the most competitive division in the major leagues with the success of the Rays, the come up of the Orioles. The Yankees had a bit of a down season last year, if you even want to call it a down season, but when you compare it to 2022,
Yeah.
it wasn't quite as good. Uh, but this year, I am looking at your list that you have right here, and I'm going to be in exact agreement with you right here so we
Yep.
can fly through the AL East. I do think that the Boston Red Sox are rebuilding, and I do think that they will have success in the future, but this is most certainly not their year. Um, I like the Von Grissom trade. Uh, kind of clearing out some payroll a little bit when you got rid of Chris Sale. I
Yep.
like that. I think they're doing things the right way, but it's going to take some time. I never, ever am a believer in the Toronto Blue Jays.
Nope.
I mean, they've just proved time and time again. I mean, you look back the past few years, the Toronto Blue Jays have been predicted by many to win the division,
Or be the
be
wild
second
card.
place, or be that wild card, top of the wild card. And when you look at the individuals on that team with Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette, so many other guys on that team, they have the star power. They have the talent to go far, but they just never do. It
They never
usually ends
do.
up being an 80 something win season, pretty underwhelming. And I think that's going to be it again. And like I said, I'm in agreement with you. You've got the Tampa Bay Rays at 3. I've got the Rays at 3. I do think that this will be not quite as good of a year for the Rays.
I agree.
You
I think
know,
they're going to
they
be hurting from losing the name we shall not say, but number 5 for the Rays. That's gonna be a big hit on them. Uh, it's just hard, man. You're replacing that kind of production that he brought to the team. But, no, you're right.
well, and with the Rays, what they have done so well for a long time now is pitching. And they really struggled midway through the season with pitching because so many other of their guys got hurt. I mean, Tyler Glasnow,
He's
who
made of
came in the
glass. He was made.
he's yes, I mean, you had some real stars go down. I mean, McClanahan's not coming back at least for a whole another year, most likely. Springs probably isn't coming back for a while. And those were two guys that were incredible. Um,
You got,
Taj Bradley is pretty good,
what's
but
the name? Zach Effen or Eflin?
Zach Eflin,
He's
but I mean, he's probably a C plus, B minus,
yeah,
level
he's not a
pitcher.
number 2 or 1 or 2 pitcher, no.
Yeah,
In the
by no
AL
means.
East that will catch up to you.
So I've got the Rays at 3, and you've got the Yankees at 2, and the Orioles at 1. I'm completely in agreement with your list there.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. You could really flip flop those two teams. I'm being 100% honest. I like the Baltimore Orioles. They did what they did in the playoffs that I predicted. They don't have veteran leadership in the lineup. And did they
Yeah.
address that? They did not. I will give them they did not. That's what kind of worries me a little bit. Pitching wise, they did, but they have no veteran leadership in the lineup. That's what I'm a little worrisome about with the Baltimore.
Yeah, they need, that veteran presence, somebody to hold some people accountable. I mean, I think that's why you've seen some of these teams go far and win the World Series recently is because you've got young, exciting talent, but some older guys too who know how to mentor and lead some of these young players. And while I do think that they will be explosive, I would not be shocked if the Baltimore Orioles end with the best record in baseball. I really would not.
No, I wouldn't be
Um,
shocked. I mean, I'm looking at we're looking at it right now. One of the oldest players they have is James McCann. It's James McCann. And he ain't no veteran leadership.
Sorry, I've got the Alabama baseball game on in the background, and I'm getting really into college baseball, and the Tide just took the lead.
They're playing
But
the Volunteers, correct?
screw them Tennessee Vols. Speaking of the Vols, you made some mad on Twitter the
I made some
other
mad
morning.
on Twitter today, and I'm gonna tell you, man, the day I can make a Tennessee Volunteer fan mad is a damn good day. I'll be honest. It is a good day. But
But yeah, I think that all right. Let's talk about the Yankees for a second, though, because as I said, they had a little bit of a down year last year. What is your prediction? You're pretty high on the Yankees this year, are
I'm
you
very
not?
high on the Yankees. I'll explain a little bit later in the episode why I'm not the episode, but the show why I'm high on the Yankees. But I'm telling you, adding Juan Soto with Aaron Judge might make them up there with like Austin Riley and Acuna, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Shohei. Like that's a good 2-3 punch or however you want to put them in the lineup. I'm really excited to see Juan Soto excel with the left field porch. I mean, the right field porch is low
Yeah.
it is. I'm telling you, I think Juan Soto will exceed. Don't be shocked if he's an MVP this year.
Keys for the Yankees, I think, this year is health. You know, I think Juan Soto never really has struggled with his health. He's been pretty durable. Aaron Judge has had some issues, though. Giancarlo Stanton, if he can have
Always,
a comeback season and stay healthy for a full 162, that would be huge.
DJ
And
LeMahieu, if he can stay healthy, if Anthony Rizzo can
mhm,
beat Father Time, it's just that's the problem with the Yankees. If Carlos Rodon, that's the biggest key in this. If Carlos Rendon can stay healthy and return
mhm.
back to the form he was 2 years ago when he was with the Giants, oh my God.
You've got Rodon, Cole,
Oh,
Nestor Cortez. I mean, that's a solid starting rotation right there. It really
it
is. It's
is.
very when you compare the 2 lineups and the pitching staffs, it's very reminiscent of the Atlanta Braves. I
Yeah.
think maybe not as much power in the lineup, but then you've got Juan Soto and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, so
Standing
maybe they
and
do.
Standing can get back to his former self, my god. But,
Mm,
let's go to the AL Central, man, the worst division of all time. The worst division of all time. What do you think?
alright, so yeah, this is the worst division. It's the most boring division. Both central divisions are the most
It's
boring. I mean, you know, neither one of them nobody in the AL Central especially has done anything in the playoffs for years. I mean, I think going back, really, it was the Guardians who were then the Indians that really are
when
the
they
most
took
recent team to do anything in the playoffs. And that was 2016, you know, and now they're not even called that anymore. I think in the AL Central, I do think that the White Sox are going to have the worst record by far. This is going to be a bad team.
Yep.
Getting rid of Dylan Cease in the middle of spring training goes to show that I don't know what the White Sox are trying to do, but they know that they're not going to win. They got rid of, Tim Anderson's gone, Cease is gone. Um,
It's just
you've got a
crazy to
couple
me
names on there.
because I mean,
It's
like,
just,
was it not 2 or 3 years ago the White Sox were in the playoffs and, like, they were young. They had young pieces, and they were good. I mean, the White Sox were a team of the future. Now look at 'em.
I mean, preseason last year they were expected to, compete to win that division with the success that Dylan Cease had in 2022 and Tim Anderson. But this is not going to be a good team. Nobody goes to the games. You've got, though, the White Sox at 5. Who is your number 4? Because this is the first one where I'm flip-flopping with you a little
I
bit.
got the Detroit Tigers. Everybody has Detroit high this year. I still think their lineup is bad. I still don't like their lineup. Pitching, I've been a biggest fan. I think the Detroit Tigers are the AL version of the my bad, the Miami Marlins. Great pitching. You got Casey Mize, you got Tarek Struble.
Eric Skubal, yeah.
Yep. And then lineup, oh my god. I mean, you got Javier Baez and they're just clogging up a hole. I'm just not a fan of the Tigers lineup. Yeah, Spencer Torkelson, he's okay. He's not the greatest in the world, but I'm just not high on the Detroit Tigers lineup. Pitching wise, that can get them into third place, but I don't see them hitting wise staying in third place.
I have at my number 2 and or at my number 4, I actually think, and this is a bold prediction here. This is a bold prediction. I have the Guardians at
Oh
number
wow.
4. I
Wow.
do not think this is gonna be a good year for the Guardians. I mean, I really only like Jose Ramirez on that team. They're not impressive. They have no power whatsoever. I mean, even bringing like you had to bring in Josh Bell in the middle of the season last year to get somewhat any sort of power. Outside of Jose Ramirez, your offense
I thought
is almost non-existent.
I thought Josh Bell played for the Marlins.
Maybe it was the year before that he went to the
It
Guardians.
was the year before. It was the year
It
before.
was the year before, correct? But even still, um, I mean, you've got nobody in that lineup who can hit for power, and that's the key right now in Major League Baseball in 2024. So I'm not a big fan of the Guardians. My number 3, I have the Tigers.
Oh
I do
wow.
think that they will get a little bit better. I do like some of that pitching. To your point, they don't have much offense either, but I like Tarek Skubal and a couple other of those
I
guys.
didn't even realize it. They got Jack Flaherty as well. If Jack Flaherty
Yes.
can come back, oh my god, that's starting. I mean, that's three good all-star pitchers right there.
Mhm. And but the top 2. Now this is interesting. My number 2, I have the Kansas City Royals.
I have them three. I
You
like
have them at
Kansas
3.
City. I like Kansas
I
City.
like
They're
what now
young.
they had an abysmal year last year. Everybody knew they would be abysmal, but I've liked some of the stuff that they've done in the offseason. I really have, and I think that they've got some young stars and Bobby Witt Jr. and a few other guys. I'm liking what the Royals are doing. I would not be shocked if we see sort of kinda like what the Reds did last year a little bit. Nobody was expecting them to do anything. They've got some young stars. Maybe they make a little bit of a noise. Don't quite make the playoffs, but they're right there.
I would give them a comparison to when the Orioles, not last year, but if you remember the year before, they went 81 and 81.
Mhm.
I think this is they're gonna break 500, but like be very close at 500. And then next year, that's when they take that next step. But I got the Royals three, and my two is the Guardians. I just think the Central's so low. Besides the White Sox, I think anybody can get it. To be honest,
Arguably, would you agree that this might be the hardest division to predict in all of
yeah,
baseball
either here or the Central, and we'll get
in
to
the
and,
national?
both of the Centrals suck. I mean, the Guardians. I got Guardians 2, and I have the Twins 1. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think whoever wins this division wins more than 88 games.
I think you're right. I think that this will be the lone winner of this division will be the lone representative of that division in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if you have, you know, two teams from the AL East or two teams from the AL West going as the other, you know, wild card teams or whatever. But I am in agreement with you. I do think that the Twins probably will be the winners as well of that division, although I'm not super high on them. It's just the lack of talent in that division.
It's kind of like throwing something on the wall and just trying to see if it sticks.
Yeah, moving on
Oh,
though.
we got the AL West.
Maybe the most interesting division in baseball, at least in the American League, in my opinion.
Could be. It could be. I have at 5 the Oakland Athletics. I mean, not a shocker there. Someone broke into my car the other day, and I had 2 Oakland tickets in there. I'm just telling you, I don't I mean, they're just trying to get to Vegas. Now, I will say I think they had the worst free agency of all time, and the fact that they actually spent money on, like, Alex Wood. Who else they spend? They spend it on random veterans, like $10 million. I'm like, why? Why are we doing this? Makes no sense. 4.
Yeah, no sense at all. No reason to have anybody but the Oakland A's at number 5, right there
I
with
wasn't
you.
even going to ask you because I know for a if anybody has Oakland A's not at 5, you need to be checked.
You need to put something big down at the casino because if you somehow hit, my lord, you're onto something. You know
I think
something that we
Patrick
don't.
Mack looked like a genius. Oakland 5. I assume we probably both have Los Angeles Angels post Shohei Ohtani 4. I do on my list.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Angels at 4. I do think that this could be a good year for them. But look, this is the issue with the Angels is just incompetency with ownership. I mean, Artie Moreno, the owner, has owned that team for far too long. It has not paid off in the postseason whatsoever. Yes, you've made some great money with people coming to watch games with Shohei Ohtani. You've had the two greatest players of our generation
For the past
on the
5 years.
same team, and you could not once make the playoffs. Not even as a wild card with either one of them. So I don't have much hope for them. I do like the move of getting Ron Washington back as a manager.
I love Ron. I think Ron is a good step forward into the future.
I really do. I think he can really help with fundamentals and everything. And I mean, he's proven he is a good manager. I mean, you look at what he did going, I mean, never won a World Series, but went to two of them back to back with Texas. So I like the move. And then my number 3, I think I'm also in agreement with you here, and that's the Seattle Mariners.
I think Seattle. I think Julio Rodriguez is a great player. I think he'll be he might already be there to some people's eye, top 10 player. He needs help. He needs that bat. He needs his Robin. It's just him in the lineup. I mean, yeah, you got JP Crawford that does a little bit of something, but he needs help. It's bad in Seattle. The pitching, though, that is their strong point. Their pitching is out of this world. They got Luis Castillo, George
George Kirby,
Kirby, Logan Gilbert. I mean, that's
Bryce Miller, yeah, Bryce.
3 solid studs right there. And then you got to need to lower lineup. Yeah, you got Ty Francis, you don't do nothing. You got Josh Rojas from Arizona. He's not terrible. JP Crawford. You lost Jared Kelnick, who was one of your coveted. I feel bad for Seattle. As a Braves fan, we
Well,
traded
yeah.
up for 3 players, and 2 of those players have been, out for season with their torn ACLs. But you got
Well,
Mitch Haniger back, but you don't have enough help with Julio.
yeah, when you look at their starting lineup, I mean, you got Cal Raleigh at catcher, Ty France still at first, Josh Rojas at second, Luis Urias at third, J.P. Crawford at short, Luke Rayleigh left field, Julio Rodriguez at center, Mitch Haniger at right. Mitch Garver probably going to be DHing. So all of those guys have the ability to produce, but outside of Julio Rodriguez, I'm right there with you. I mean, who is that one other guy that you're like, oh, I'm scared of this guy in the lineup? I mean, I really don't know. Maybe Cal Raleigh, maybe Ty France, but that's
I would
probably it.
slightly put them over the Miami Marlins and Detroit Tigers to be in the same boat since they do have Julio, but they're in the same boat. I mean, they have a little bit more. They have a lot of pop. They don't have a lot of contact besides J.P. Crawford and Julio, but
Mhm.
they got pop in the bat. I will give them that with Cal Raleigh, Mitch Garver, Mitch Haniger. There's a pop in the bat, but I don't know if there's a lot of contact in the bat.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Moving on. We've been in agreement with the AL West so far. Your number 2 is
I got the reigning Texas Rangers. I don't think that they're going to win the division this year. I think that Texas is going to finish second. I wouldn't be shocked if Texas falls off. I don't think they addressed their pitching well enough. Of course, you had Jacob DeGrom with another injury. You lost Jordan Montgomery. How did you respond to that? By doing nothing. You have Max Scherzer, who's, I mean, on the outside, I think he's almost turning 40. It's not looking great. You didn't really do nothing. You have Nathan Eovaldi, who's old. You got John Gray, Andrew Heaney. Like, there's just not a lot of stud pitchers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look back, and I've got the Rangers at 2 as well. It would not shock me if they have a great season and win the division. but I think that there was a sour taste in the mouth of the Astros. So I think that they're going to be coming out hot. The Astros are not going anywhere, and I don't think that the Rangers are going anywhere. But I wouldn't be shocked if they have
It's
about the same as last year. But yeah, Nate Eovaldi as your number one pitcher, or as your likely number one pitcher, he is great and he is very clutch at times. But outside of him is John Gray, Andrew Heaney, and then Dane Dunning and Cody Bradford. That doesn't scream insane pitching staff to me. Um, but I mean, look, they've got guys in the lineup who can most certainly produce. I mean, Jonah Heim is a stud. Nathaniel Lowe, pretty good at first. Marcus Simeon, if he has another great year, I mean, look, this is an MVP caliber guy in Marcus Simeon. I've always said.
he is, yeah.
Josh Young is fantastic. Corey Seager, Leody Taveras, and one of my new favorite players after last year's postseason, Adolis Garcia.
Yeah.
And then don't be shocked if a guy who has been producing like crazy in spring training, who is already basically MLB ready, Wyatt Langford. He's basically like a Corey Seager
I
2.0,
agree, yeah.
and he's hit like 7 home runs in spring training. He I would be shocked if he doesn't come up very soon in the majors. But all of that to say, the Astros just aren't going anywhere. I mean,
Their lineup, dude, I'm looking at their starting 5 right now. It's Verlander, Framber Valdez, who I think is a sleeper to win the Cy Young Award, Christian Javier, Jose, Urquidy, and Lance.
Urquidy, Hunter Brown, and JP France. I mean, those top
You
three
still get
though
Lance
are
McCullers. Like,
yeah, yeah. So and then you look at the lineup, and I mean, the biggest question marks in the lineup are Yiner Diaz, Jose Abreu, who had a terrible season last year. Let's be real.
yep,
Um, Chas McCormick, I guess, Jake Myers, and that's about it.
that's it.
I mean, Jose Altuve is still Jose
And
Altuve.
we're not even talking about their strongest suit. Their bullpen, you got Josh
Oh
Hader
my
closing
gosh.
game. You got Ryan Presley and Kendall Graveman setting them up. You got Rafael Montero, Ryan Abreu. I mean, they got a bullpen.
I just do think that this team is set up for success. It's been great. Um, so I wouldn't be shocked, either way if either one of those Texas teams wins the World Series this next year.
Yep,
But I do think that the Astros um, will pull it out in the division.
yep, I agree. Well, let's go to the NL East.
Well, before we go, one more thing to mention about the Astros, and it is a question mark. There is a new manager,
Joe,
Joe Espada,
yep,
so that might change some things. We don't know just how good he is.
it might. NL East 5. I have the Nats. I assume you have the Nats. Don't sleep on the Nats in the future. They have some players coming up with Elijah Wood and Dylan Cruz, and they got some pitching with what's his name, dude? They got from San Diego.
I don't even know, but I've got the Nationals as well. Look, they're rebuilding. They're not a fan base that I think really seems to care all that much. They got their World Series in 2019, and then there go the Nationals. So not much to speak on.
Mackenzie Gore. They have Mackenzie Gore and
Mackenzie Gord, yep.
Josiah Gray. He's not bad. I mean, you just got a couple people on roster with getting paid, Patrick Corbin and all that. But yeah, I got the Nats in fifth, and then I think this is going to be controversial. I got the Marlins in four. I don't think the Marlins will top three. Who my three team is. I think it's going to be the lineup once again for the Marlins. It's going to withhold them. They didn't make a lot of they didn't make a lot of changes to this lineup besides signing Tim Anderson in the spring training. They didn't really do nothing to this lineup to improve it.
Um, I've got the Marlins at 3, actually. I've got the Mets at 4. I really think that there's gonna be a down year for the Mets. I think that they're gonna sell off more pieces, at the All-Star break this year. This is the final year likely of Pete Alonso. I know that he probably wants to remain a New York Met. And you still got guys, in the lineup. You still got Brandon Nimmo, still got Starling Marte, still got Francisco Lindor. I mean, you still have a lot of talent on the Mets. But just with the way that the Mets have gone about things, they've really hardly picked up anybody aside from who was the biggest name that they picked up in free agency? this year.
Mets, they got a pitcher. Who was the pitcher they got? I know they got Harrison Bader. They got
They
Harrison.
got Harrison Bader, that's the biggest name, really.
They got
Um,
they got a pitcher. Let me look. I'm looking because I know for a fact that somebody because they signed him to kind of a not a big deal, but a bigger deal than most
well,
teams that would.
I
Louis they
I mean,
signed Luisa Sean Mania. That's who it
Sean
was.
Manaea, solid pitcher. But I look at the Marlins, and I would not be shocked if they end up 4th and the Mets are 3. But I mean, I really, really like the Marlins pitching as I mean, you kind of always have to like him. Sandy Alcantara had a down year last year, but Jesus Luzardo is still great. Yuri Perez, I think, is going to be one of the best pitchers in
One
baseball.
one more pitcher that people forget about for the Marlins, that Braxton Garrett from Foley
Braxton Garrett.
from Foley High School. He is a stud. He is forgotten about. He can pitch.
Yeah, yeah. Now I do look, and they've made some interesting moves like Tim Anderson. If Anderson, I think that's a great spot for him. Though you're in Miami, and that may not be the best spot for Tim Anderson with his personality, he's out of the spotlight a little bit. Maybe he can have a bounce back year. Luis Ariz is going to keep hitting. Jake Berger, has got some power. The issue with the Marlins is they lack that power outside of Jake Berger. There's really nobody that can have like that 40 home run season. I mean, you got Josh Bell, I guess, but and Jazz Chisholm's pretty good. But I think that this is a middle of the road team. I wouldn't be shocked if they end up 4th. I've just got them at 3.
I like it. I like the Mets lineup. I don't think it's a terrible lineup. I just think they've kind of come to the realization that they're not going to be able to keep up with the Braves. But all right, let's go to number two. Your number two, I assume it might be the same as mine. I have the Philadelphia Phillies.
I do have the Philadelphia Phillies at number 2. And look, just because they're number 2, they could win any division in baseball if they were in another one. I mean, I think that this is a great team. Bryce Harper, I think, will have a fantastic year. The issue with the Phillies is they've just consistently given off like 80 something win style, and then they go ham in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, that's what happens
Um,
with you. Yeah,
I mean, there's really not much more that you can speak on other than the reason I've got them at 2 is because the team that I've got at number 1, which I know you have at number 1, you've got them across your chest right now. It's the Atlanta Braves. And look, we're Braves homers. We're getting into baseball season. The way that you see John Rivers and I talking about Alabama basketball and football, we're going to talk the same way about
that's
Braves
Braves.
baseball.
Yeah, so just
We
keep
are
going.
absolute homers. We embrace being homers, but you can't not admit
They have the
that
best
this
lineup.
might be the best team in baseball, bar none. Both, this is the best lineup, and I'm going to argue it. This is the best pitching staff in baseball too.
I agree. I mean, if the Braves can get Chris Sale back to his former self in Boston, which I think that will happen because he's pitched a really good spring training. Oh my God, watch out MLB because the Braves are not going to be stopped if Chris Sale can get back to his former self.
I mean, you've got arguably, I wouldn't have done it, but MLB The Show rated Spencer Strider as a 97,
Well, high in my opinion, but
and which is the highest rated pitcher in the game, higher than Garrett Cole.
they said he has a new pitch, man, that is out
As
of this.
he does have a curveball, which I mean, man, if he's got another pitch to his arsenal,
Gotta
he
be better.
might win a Cy
Gotta be
Young.
better than that slider because that slider ain't it, butter.
That issue with Strider is he's a strikeout machine. He's going to have over 250 strikeouts or whatever easily. He can just give up some runs. So I think, he can most certainly win the Cy Young if he just limits that ERA just a little bit. If he can keep his ERA maybe under a 2.5 and keep with the same strikeout numbers that he had last year and the year before, Cy Young winner all day long. And then to your point, I mean, when you've got Chris Sale as your number 4, whether he's what he was, you know, 5 years ago or not, even if you just get the Chris Sale of last year, he's your number 4 pitcher. I mean, come on. I mean, when your question mark is who are we going to have as the 5th starter, Bryce Elder, who was an all-star last year, or Reynaldo Lopez? I mean, like I know that there's some some doubt and some concern as Braves fans, but you ain't got much to be concerned about.
No, you don't. And to go back to your point of Spencer Strider, people kind of forget he's 25 years old. He's young. He's one of our youngest pitchers we got. I mean, I think I want to double check. He's only a few months older than Bryce Elder.
Yeah, and he was like a 5th round pick.
And that's
Nobody expected him to do what he's done.
what I'm
And then
saying.
we haven't even talked about the lineup itself. I mean, this is the best lineup in baseball. I know the Dodgers have Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, but this is 1 through 9,
And we have
just like last year.
And I mean, the Dodgers don't have Luis Guillermo.
And Luis Guillorme, heck
No,
no.
they don't.
I mean,
And
he's just
we
gonna
have
be Panda 2.0.
Forrest Wall. Who do y'all have? Putting that out there?
Well, the Phillies got Jordan Luplow.
Oh well, he's our we've have fun with sloppy seconds.
But yeah, I mean, my prediction, if I'm gonna give a player prediction for who I think is going to be really, really good this year for the Braves,
Austin
I
Riley.
think hit the nail on the head. I think Acuna will continue to be Acuna Jr. I don't know if he's gonna have a 70-40 season, but I can see a 50-50 or a 50-40.
I think
But
Riley.
I think Austin Riley could have an MVP caliber season.
I
I
agree.
think you remember in the second half of 2022 where he was just on fire,
Yep.
like hottest pitch. I can see him doing that consistently all year long. So that is the NL East prediction there. Not to dwell on it too much. We are Braves fans, so we like to do that. And we might have episodes just for Braves. Maybe we'll have some Braves post game
I
episodes or
say we
something.
might have that. Now
Mhm.
let's zoom through this NL Central because I'm being 100% honest when I say this. I don't know who's going to finish fifth, and I don't know who's going to finish first. It
Yeah,
can,
this is a
it can,
tough one
truly,
to predict.
it can truly be. Hell, I think Alabama has a chance at winning. I'm just telling you, I think Auburn
Hey,
basketball team might have a
I
chance.
mean, if you put Nick Saban as manager on the Cardinals, maybe they'll do something.
I'm just telling you, man. I mean, this lineup is rough. I'm just gonna tell you my five, and then you tell me your five. I got the
Okay.
Pirates five. I have the Brewers four, Cardinals three, Reds two, Cubs one. And when I say I could probably see the Pirates winning it, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because the issue with those teams, and I'll run through my 5. I've got the Pirates at 5 as well. I've got the Brewers at 4. I've got the Cardinals at 3, and then I've got the Cubs at 2, and I've actually got the Reds at 1 because I think the Reds have, man, they've got such young stars. They remind me so much of the previous few seasons of the Orioles. I just would not be shocked, with some of those great young players that they've got if they win that division. But to your point, I mean, any one of those teams could win it. Any one of these teams could end up in 5th place. I
Right.
mean, the Pirates, who we both have predicted at 5, I mean, you got Paul Skeens, who's throwing 102 miles per hour in spring training and is probably would be the number 1 starter if on opening day if he wasn't just in the minors.
I expect him to be don't be shocked if you see him debut this
Oh, 100%. But yeah, it's a toss-up division for sure. The interesting one in this division, in my opinion, is the Cardinals. I mean, you rarely ever see the Cardinals have a losing season, especially to the degree
year.
that they had
The way
last
it
year.
was.
And then for them to go and sign Carlos Marmol to like a 4-year extension or whatever it was, not the smartest move in my opinion.
They,
I do
they
think it'll be a bounce back here though.
they addressed a lot of the needs. They got pitching. I mean, I'm very interested to see what happens. I feel like the Cardinals have been stuck the last 2 years. They have played retirement tour giveaways with Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, and Adam Wainwright. I think they have been on retirement tours, giveaways. Now it's time to get back to baseball.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, moving on to the NL West though, this is going to be a division to pay attention to
This is
because
besides the fifth ranked team, which is kind of a sneaky good division.
just like in the kind of the opposite of the NL Central where any team could win it and any team could lose it aside from the Rockies, they're going to end up last. It's the same way, just better. It's like the NL Central, it's like any of y'all could be good, any of y'all could be bad. We know all of those top 4 teams in the West are likely gonna be really good, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I see you've got the Giants at 4.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right there with you, and I've got the Giants at 4 as well. I like some of the moves that they've made, but not enough compared to it's just some of those other teams are just so good. Um,
And they addressed the needs they needed. I mean, power bat, you got Matt Chapman, and you got Jorge Soler. Boom, that's two good power bats. And you got Bob Melvin as your head coach now. Just year one. That's my only thing. That's my only.
yeah, sorry to step away there for a second. Yeah, and then at 3, I've got the Padres. Um, this is a tough team to predict. We're actually gonna go watch the Braves and the Padres.
We are, and
Keep in mind, might have a live episode or something from Truist Park at the Battery or something. We're
yeah,
gonna figure something out with that. But I've got the Padres at 3. I see you've got them there as well.
Padres could easily be two. It could easily be the Arizona Diamondbacks at three. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of predicting it a little bit. I think Arizona might fall on its face a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked, but I like the Padres team. You still have Manny Machado, and in my opinion, the second best player next to Ronald Acuna with Fernando Tatis.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that this will be a big year for Tatis. Um,
And you just got Dylan Cease. I mean, I think that's pretty good.
no, yeah, I kind of forgot about the C steal that we talked about earlier in the episode. My number 2, um, I've got I'm in agreement with you. I see you've got the Diamondbacks number
Nice, yeah,
2, and, you said you could flip-flop them maybe, and I could too. I still just like this Diamondbacks team. You know me, I kinda just like the Diamondbacks in general, but really like this pitching staff. Zach Gallen is a Cy Young caliber pitcher.
he is.
Merrill Kelly has been a surprise pitcher. I mean, you never expect Merrill Kelly to pitch as good as he seems to pitch when he's on the mound. Eduardo Rodriguez is there, and Brandon Pfaadt showed that he could be a great pitcher. I think that he'll have kind of a really good year this year. And then some of the relievers with Saul Frank, Manaply, Ginkle, I mean, Miguel Castro, Paul Sewald, like they've got some dudes on the pitching staff. They're still just a little young in the lineup, I think. You got like Gabby Moreno, a catcher. Christian Walker is, I mean, I don't know what to think about Christian Walker because he always does worse than what you think he's gonna do.
He
Um,
reminds me so much of CJ Crone. It's not funny. Like
yes,
the old
yes.
veteran that it found a little bit of life at the end of his career.
Yeah, but I mean, you got some really good young guys too with Perdomo and Carroll, Alec Thomas. So I really like this Diamondbacks team. And don't forget, DH. The I mean, they're winning the World Series now if they make the playoffs because they got Jock Tober on the team.
October,
Can't
Pearl,
go wrong with
Pearl,
Jock.
Pearl.
But you and I are in agreement for sure. The winner of this
It's
division
gonna be the Dodgers.
is
It's
going to be the
it's
Dodgers.
gonna be
I
the
mean,
as it
is there
should.
even much to say about it?
They might have if the Braves don't have the best record in baseball, it could be the Dodgers. They got a really good. Those three is the best in baseball. I mean, you go from Betts, Freeman, Otani. That's the three best. And
Yeah, I
you
mean,
still have Will Smith. You got Max Muncy. You still have I think they re-signed Kiki Hernandez. You still got Chris Taylor. You got what's his name? Dude, they signed Hernandez. You got Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, they're just a good lineup. I don't know what to say. You got Yamamoto. You got
Tyler Glasnow.
Glass now, and people forget they're getting Walker Bueller back this year.
Yes, they
Walker
are.
Bueller is
Yes, they
still
are.
Walker Bueller. Like that, I mean, they can. I mean, I'm still going to argue the Braves might have a better roster and pitching staff, but the Dodgers pitching staff.
The one thing about the Dodgers pitching staff is I don't think that their bullpen is all that great. They've got some guys who, could be good, like Trinan, Vesia, Joe Kelly, I guess, Ryan Yarbrough maybe, but outside of them, their bullpen kind of struggled last year. It'll be interesting to see if they kind of pick it up this year. But yeah, that's all 6 divisions right there. But to kind of go over it,
What's
one
your
more
World
time.
Series?
World Series prediction. Okay. Oh, my World Series prediction. and I'm kind of predicting this because I'm hoping it's the opposite. I wanna do a reverse jinx here. I think that the World Series will be the Braves and the Houston Astros.
Oh wow, rematch. I like it.
And I think the winner will be the Houston Astros.
There we go. There we go. I like it. I like it. I have the Atlanta Braves playing versus America's team. I guess not America's team, but the most famous team of all time, the New York Yankees. And I have the Atlanta Braves. I'm not saying this as a Braves fan. I have the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series 3-2. I think Atlanta is hungry this year. Like I've mentioned before, it's key if Chris Sale can pitch like he used to. Because if you can go to a playoff and your three pitchers be Strider, Freed, Sale, oh my God.
You know, the key for the Braves is you're getting to the playoffs. If you just take care of business and win your seventh division in a row, you're going. But the key for us is you have to figure out this thing in the playoffs, which we're going to talk about it as the season goes on and as we get closer into the playoffs, you know, going into August and September. But there's just, I mean, maybe it's you just ran into a hot Phillies team. I don't really think so because those bats were just abysmal in both
You're right.
series in 2023 and 2022. But if they figure it out, and I think one of the big things with the Braves is they've lost some of that edge. You
Gotta
know,
have it.
they didn't have that guy. I watched recently a Braves episode of Behind the Braves or whatever it is, like their spring training little documentary series. And AJ Minter said that he thought Chris Sale brought a little bit of that FU mentality. And I think that that's great because outside of really Spencer Strider kind of has that mentality a little bit. But outside of him, nobody really
No
has
way.
that on the
No
team
way.
last
No.
year. But now you've got Chris Sale, who most certainly brings that energy. Since Spencer Strider's got some of that, it'll be interesting to see how well Tyler Matzik does coming back this year, but he most certainly has that energy. So I think you've got some guys now who can just go out there and say, I don't give a crap. I'm laying my schlong on the table.
Yeah.
I'm throwing this heat at you, and we're gonna hit home runs. But that's my prediction. I do think that I don't know who will win it, but I think we're gonna have a rematch of 2021 in the World Series.
Now let's spit these next few questions out. Who do you have winning the MVP for the AL and the NL?
All right, MVP for the American League. I'm gonna go Mike Trout.
Oh,
I think that there's gonna be a comeback season for Mike Trout. The Angels aren't gonna do anything,
I think
but I think he's gonna go off this
my
year.
prediction is he's from your World Series team. I'm gonna go Yordan Alvarez. He was injured last year. The year before he
Mm.
finished third. Give me Yordan Alvarez in the National League. I'm gonna go with someone from the Dodgers, and it's not Shohei. It is his teammate who finished second last year. Give me Mookie Betts. I think Mookie Betts gets the MVP that he wants in the National League. I don't know how many players have done it, but he'll be in the special group of players that have won it in both leagues. I think Mookie Betts wins his second MVP, but in Los Angeles this time.
My National League MVP, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Back to back.
I do think that he goes back to back. Now, I do think that these are probably going to be the only two that he wins in his career. Not that Shohei Ohtani is in that league, but with him not pitching this year, I think that gives room for Ronald to win another one. In the American League, though, I do think if he has a full, good, healthy season, I like Corey Seager. Wouldn't be shocked if he has an MVP caliber year.
That's your sleeper. That's your sleeper.
That's my sleeper
My
in the
sleeper.
American League.
My sleeper. Fernando Tatis in the National League, and then American League sleeper. I go Julio Rodriguez. Um, yes, yes,
My National League sleeper, Bryce Harper.
I like it. Rookie of the year. I know it's kind of
Mm,
hard to predict these, but I looked up a website that had like envy, like who they think's gonna be rookie. Texas, give me Evan Carter. He played a little bit last year in the World Series, played for Texas. Then I'm gonna go someone in the NL because everybody thinks he's gonna win it. I don't think Yamamoto is gonna win it. I think it's gonna be Jung Ho Lee from the San Francisco Giants,
Really?
the outfielder.
Really?
Jung Ho Lee.
Okay, all right. Rookie of the year for me in the American League, I like your pick. I like your pick of Evan Carter, and depending I'm really, really high on Wyatt Langford, though. I would not be shocked if he comes up early enough.
Yeah.
And then in the National League, I'm gonna go with Cardinals young star, Jordan Walker. Give me Jordan Walker as Rookie of the Year in the National League.
See, I had Walker last year as mine, and then
He didn't really play
he didn't
enough.
play that much. Yeah. So let's do Cy Young Award. AL. I'm gonna go with someone joining a new team, jumping from this NL to the AL. Give me Corbin Burns as the AL Cy Young Award, and then the NL. Probably gonna sound like a homer. Give me Spencer Strider. I think Spencer Strider wins the NL MVP. NL
I
Cy Young. NL Cy Young.
I'm gonna go in the American League. Give me Garrett Cole
That's my
to win
sleeper.
the
That's my
MVP.
sleeper. I like that. I like
And I'll have Corbin Burns as my sleeper. I mean, in the American League, those are the two best pitchers. I mean, so far, basically. And then in the National League, I'm gonna go not with Spencer Strider, but
that.
his teammate. It's a contract year. I think
This
Max
country.
Fried. I think Max Fried will be that guy, and my sleeper will be Spencer Strider.
My sleeper is gonna be Zach Gallen with Arizona.
Oh, I like that one.
Zach Gallen. And then who's gonna be your coach of the year? I have mine is Joe Estrada, whatever his name is with Houston, and Craig Counsell with the Chicago Cubs.
Hmm. Coach of the year. That's a tough one. Oh man.
You wanna skip this one?
Let's come back to this one.
Alright.
No, let me I'll stay on it. I'll stay on it. Coach of the year in the National League. Give me Skip Schumacher of the Miami
Oh
Marlins.
wow,
If
that's a hot
if they have
take.
the season that I'm predicting,
That's a hot take because there's a good chance he might get fired. I've seen
if he
so
has the season that I'm predicting,
that's a
give me
hot
Skip
take.
Schumacher.
Okay.
And then in the American League, I'm gonna go with Joe Espada. I think year one under the Astros,
Yep.
I think I have a good season. Now, of course, he's got that talent on there. You can't really coach that talent. They're already coached as
No,
best
you're
they
right.
can be. Give me
Kinda
Joe
like
Espada.
what who someone John Harbaugh or Jay Harb somebody one of the Harbaughs had Ryan Day and said that you think you hit a home run but you were born on third base. Um my surprise team is stinker team. My surprise team the Chicago Cubs, then my stinker team the Toronto Blue Jays.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna go with my stinker team as the Blue Jays as well, just as we talked about at the beginning of the show. Look, they just never do as good as they're predicted to be.
As they're supposed to be. Yeah.
And then my surprise team, give me, and I know I predicted them to be last, so I'll give you a sleeper surprise team. Don't be shocked if the Pirates do something.
I agree. No, I completely. I've been on the Pirates. I mean, I think I texted you in the group chat one day. It was like, I think I could see them winning it. Like, I truly, when I say I don't know who's going to win the NL Central, I think the Braves could win the NL Central.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I'll go with my other sleeper team. Give me the Mariners.
uh,
Now if they can just they give me the vibes of, if they can make the playoffs and if they get somehow a nice home field playoff game, which they haven't really been able to get,
yeah,
maybe they can do something. But I think that's about it. Do we have
yeah.
anything else?
No, that's it, man. Well, I'm excited. Baseball season starts in a couple of days from when this airs. So excited, man. We're gonna go to a couple of baseball games together, guy. I'm gonna tell you, man, we're gonna go live. We should, I mean, dude, we got a lot of good things cooking up at Heads Up Play with baseball season coming around. Summer's coming. The boys of summer. We about to tear it up. We about to tear it up, man.
We tearing it up, man. we're going it's about to be summer. I mean,
Yep.
really about to be spring, I guess,
Yeah,
but
I
it's about to be
guess.
summer, and we about to be all baseball.
Yep.
I mean, look, because in the summer, you got the NBA playoffs, which for whatever reason go on long as hell.
It goes from May to July. My God.
I don't understand
I'll
that.
give him credit. Yeah, the finals is, like, interesting to watch, but, like, my God, I don't know
Like, can
why
we hurry up and get there?
I
But I mean, outside of that, unless you're like a hockey fan, it's really baseball. And then up comes college football season. So we're going to be busy here at Heads Up Play. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter/X. It's all right there. Drop a comment right there.
tell
Let
us
us
who
know
you think.
who do you think is your sleeper team? Who do you think might win the MVP or the Rookie of the Year? Let us know.
I made a
But
Tennessee
guys,
fan mad today, and it made me happy. What fan base do you like to make mad?
all right, real quickly before we get out of here. It's not a real episode, not a full episode, but I'll do a quick question of the day for you, baseball related.
Okay.
Who is the best and the worst MLB mascot? Not mascot as in like they're
As much as I'm
not the Braves, but the actual character, the dress up character.
Mm,
Best and worst in your opinion.
I
I'll
like
give mine.
I would always I would used to say Philly Fanatic, but with Blooper kinda going on Twitter and being a menace on Twitter, I feel like he's taking that over number 1. I don't know who the worst would be,
I'm gonna say the best in my opinion. To stray away from sounding like a Braves homer, I won't say blooper. I'll say um whatever the Astros one is. I
he's
think
not
his
bad.
name might be Astro
I'd
or something.
probably go
Orbit,
I'd
Orbit.
probably go Wally with the Red Sox for the
I
worst.
like Wally.
The worst one
The worst might be Billy the Marlin or the Oriole.
I'm gonna go the worst one being, the one from the Rockies, the dinosaur. I don't know why, I just don't
Oh
like
yeah.
that one.
I don't know why there's a
It feels
dinosaur. I
like
guess they can't. What are they going to make a mountain?
it
Maybe.
just feels like a I'm like at a Disney World for,
Yeah, something out of Barney is what it's
yeah,
always reminded
it
me of.
looks like the Land Before Time dinosaur.
Yeah, all right, guys, but that is it. Be sure coming out maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere around
Yep,
there. We're gonna be giving our NCAA tournament
yep,
predictions. So
yep,
be sure to be looking out,
I'm into
everybody.
that.
Heads up play.
We out.
We out.